Hey there guys, what is happening? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today I want to speak about just following the norm. You see, a lot of people use this term to describe the flow. Go with the flow, right? Go with the flow. Now I'm telling you not to go with the flow. I'm telling you to be the flow. There's a big difference. If you just go along with the current and the mainstream and what everybody else is telling you, you're going to fall into many different traps because you're going to learn not to trust what is within you, your intuition. You're going to put all your eggs in other people's baskets. You're going to be dependent on them. This is where codependence starts, by not being independent. Codependence starts by not being independent, okay? By having a dependence on other people. So, first of all, it's important to really understand how you are understanding that there is a status quo, there is a measure of doing things, there is a conformity. What are you doing to get outside of that? What are you doing to work towards your own excellence and your own uniqueness and your own individuality? Because yes, we are all the same, but because we are all the same, we are also all different. That is the paradox, you see. We have to admire our differences at the same time understand that we are the same. We are the same because we are different. If you have a morning routine, great. Great, right? You have a morning routine. That's fantastic. What if you miss that morning routine? Things start to mess up, right? Something weird happens. You get to the place late. You sort of fumble around the day. You don't get your first cup of coffee. What happens after that? You sort of fumble around. You look for caffeine afterwards. Right? So you become almost dependent on something else besides yourself to be in your natural self. Right? If we look at all these substances to keep us alive and keep us awake and keep us activated, we're never really going to truly activate the flow state, which is the most addictive chemical on the planet. Like all the neurochemicals get released at once. So what other drug do we need than this? In our own brains, than our own bodies, what it's producing naturally and chemically. And there's a certain pattern and normative way of doing something. And then we get really frightened or something happens and you fall apart and you crumble. You can't let that keep happening to you. You've got to be versatile. You've got to be adaptable when you're in the flow state. You've got to be the flow. Meaning, let's say you left your wallet, you have to use some kind of banking app on your phone now to try and figure it out. Dealing with the solution, not worrying about the problem, but dealing with the solution, being solution focused and solution oriented. Something happens, you fall apart. Be open to the possibility that there's always another way. There's always another possibility. There's always another answer. There's always another path. Be open to that, because that will really help you. There's not just one way of doing something. We as human beings, we tend to think that there is. There's only this way and my way or the highway. But there's so many different ways. There's this amazing quote by St. Augustine. I'm just going to read it out. Do you wish to rise? Begin by descending. You plan a tower that will pierce the clouds. First lay down the foundation of humility. If we let our own egos eat us up, we won't do any of the shadow work. We think we're perfect. We think we're fine already. We won't ever explore the dark side, and that is what will be our downfall in the end. Actually have the dark side eat us up, because we haven't been willing to process it. We haven't been willing to clean up the junkyard. It's the broken window effect, right? Broken window is kept there for many years. Nobody looks after it. It gets there. Crime rates rise. The whole place collapses. Becomes an impoverished neighborhood. But why? It all started with that one broken window that we're not willing to face. We're not willing to face it. We're not willing to do the internal work. Having to face what we don't really want to face. Being intimate with ourselves can be the scariest thing, but I'm telling you honestly, guys, I'm pretty scared of being intimate and vulnerable with somebody, just like everybody else is. Primarily, I think that's what I crave more than anything, is to be intimate with someone, on a really deep level, a profoundly deep level. However, because I want it so badly, it also terrifies me. Now, you might feel like this in many different aspects of your life, right? But this is kind of like an understanding that the world has these polarities, these paradoxes, but you can't, as I spoke in the other video, right? It's kind of split mind. You've got to be able to integrate and merge with that, guys, and understand that if you're feeling upset, that's not you, that's just a signal telling you that something needs to be corrected or refined within you. So the flow way, the woo way, the flow way and the woo way is the new way, okay? You can quote me on this, guys. The flow way and the woo way is the new way. Man, I just came up with that. That's great. Anyway, so flow awakens this kind of higher level of you, right? It's the OS. It's the OS update, okay? It's the operating system that allows you to accelerate the possibility of what you might not have considered before. It might be introducing a new reality to you that you might not have ever perceived in that way. But now that you perceive it differently throughout your years of experience and collecting all of these little memory points along the way of your path, now you have a different understanding of the same piece of information. Have you ever read a book and then it didn't make sense, but then years later you were like, oh, that's what that meant? Or you watched a movie when you were a kid and you were like, what is this movie about? I don't get any of these jokes. But then you understand they're like these really adult jokes, right? And you find out later on, because your ideas have changed, your mind has expanded. Your mind cannot, once it's stretched by a new idea, it cannot return back to its original dimensions. I forgot who said this, maybe it was Einstein. But, start to understand that once you keep expanding yourself and growing and you're on this spiritual journey or you're on this personal development journey or whatever it is that you're on something. You're on some kind of train track. You're on some kind of road. Whatever that road is for you, understand that there is always another path. You are just choosing this particular path, and you've always just been making those choices. But you do have a choice. That's what I want this video to be about, right? Giving you this kind of realization that there is always a choice to switch something around. Whether it's to switch around how we perceive something or look at the situation, we are these interpretation machines, right? So if we can change the way we look at a situation, we can change the experience itself. If you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at changes. Right? Was that Stephen Covey? I'm not even sure. I say quotes at times when I just get downloads of quotes. I don't even know who said them. But I know that somebody said them, right? And even all my original ideas are probably influenced by somebody else, right? That's how it works, right? Original ideas sometimes have original thoughts, but they're all kind of, old ideas with just a new pair of eyes, which are my eyes. So I'm saying it as the words come out in my own way, but all I'm channeling is this pure consciousness that is coming through. This is what that can happen to you when you are actually in that flow state. It's like you just let go and you just give in to what is true and natural, and it just, you get this kind of individual power that is the seed of creation that comes from, the bottom of your spine, that you're able to sort of unlock that wisdom that is deep within your core, and then also unlock the wisdom that is outside of ourselves, the metaphysical knowledge. When you can do that, and it's coming down to your brain, right, which is a logical, transcoder and transfixer. It's like once you have this inhale, exhale, this pure channel created of as I mentioned in my dharana videos, like droplets of water, but then it becomes like honey, right? Just like this amazing feedback. So that's what I want for you guys. I hope this video helps you out today. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you and stay legend.